Morning, this is Mark Raasch here north of Odebolt. This is August the 3rd. We're in the still morning and we're out here looking at some corn. As you can see, we're just under pollination here now. You can see there's a few brown silks showing, but the plant is still going through pollination here just a little bit. We've had some rain this morning. There's been some hail damage in the area, some wind damage. This cornfield is in pretty good shape. It won't be turned in for a claim, but there's other fields around the area that had pretty good leaf stripping and that sort of thing going on overnight. The beans, we'll look at some beans here later on, but for the most part the beans have been faring pretty well. We've had a fair amount of rain here over the month. Last month we've had quite a bit of rain, about every 2 or 3 days it's been a rain, and plenty of moisture. This past Saturday evening, this field got sprayed with fungicide and insecticide. We're using 6 ounces of headline with I believe it was 1.6 ounces of Warrior 2, and then a product called Franchise, which is a surfactant or crop oil product to help the product stick to the leaf after it was sprayed. We're going to look at some leaves here in a little bit and kind of go over some of the diseases that we've been looking at. Little comment about the weather this year compared to last year. We've had several days of cool and wet conditions, and a lot more than what we had last year. And so disease is something that we want to keep an eye out for. As you'll see on the leaves, we're not experiencing a large amount of leaf area covered with the disease, but we expect with the growing conditions the way they are and the way they have been that those disease pressures will continue to build, and so that's why the treatment was made. It's a bit of a leap of faith sometimes, but sometimes you have to do those sorts of things. So let's take a look at a couple of leaves here. This first leaf that we're going to look at is eye spot, and if we can zoom in on that a little bit there by my thumb is kind of what eye spot looks like. Again, like I said before, there's not a lot of leaf area showing it, but a lot of fields in this area have shown up with eye spot, and we want to make sure that that's not spreading. So we'll take a look at a second leaf here. This is very common here. This on the edge of the leaf is common rust. A lot of times you'll see this almost every year. Again, not a lot of leaf area shown, but this was the best example I could find right now. So, but that's common rust. And we'll take a look at the third leaf here. There's a couple of diseases on this leaf. This first one by my thumb is northern leaf blight. It runs along the veins in kind of a roundish shape to it. And then a more common disease is towards the top part of the leaf. Looks very similar to northern leaf blight, but that is actually can't remember what it was now. Gray leaf spot, that's what it is. And the distinguishing mark there is that it is more of a rectangular shape, that larger lesion there at the top of my thumb. This is Mark Raasch again, August 3rd morning. We've moved to a bean field here north of Odebolt. Just wanted to pull this plant out. I was actually looking for some soybean aphids, but not finding them here this morning. As far as the soybean aphid in this area, Been relatively low pressure this year. We're still going to be watching awful close for them because we got a little ways to go here yet as far as the possibility for injury from those particular insects. But so far, very low pressure. When we're scouting fields, we're typically finding them on the edge of the field, on the outside couple of rows, and out in the middle of the field, we're not seeing hardly anything. As far as numbers that we're seeing, 1 to 5 aphids per leaf, or on a plant, I should say. We're finding one leaf or trifoliate leaf that's showing some aphids on it, and the rest of the plant is clean. So very low pressure, unlike a year ago where we had very high numbers. I just pulled this plant here out of the row here on the edge of the field. We're kind of looking at the stage of the plant here. We would stage this plant at a R2 to R3 plant. That would be full flower to beginning pod. As you can see towards the bottom of the plant, we've got some pods started here, and as you move up the plant, you see just the very beginning of some pods. This, the leaves on this plant have a little bit of injury. Let's look at the leaf damage here that we have on this plant. More than likely, there's some insect damage and possibly some hail damage. We're looking, when you look at the plant and you're trying to determine the difference between the two types of damage, a lot of times an insect will carve out a hole in the leaf, kind of like this, whereas you get the kind of the raggedy edge there. That's more than likely wind damage or a hail damage stone. A lot of times on corn plant, when the insurance adjuster comes out, he'll be looking for the trapdoor effect, and it's the same thing on the bean plant. If you see this here, you've got an injury here to the plant. You fold that over, it fits perfectly back into that damaged area, and that was a hailstone.